Hey Ma, do you know what burst my bubble?
What burst your bubble?
Illegitimate children that come from wealthy families that are rejected by the wealthy families.
Well, I mean, people reject their children all the time. Some people don't even know they have children, that they've fathered children.
That's a good point. Didn't you say the Bidens, they have a grandchild, and Hunter Biden,
Had a child with a crack when he was on crack, yeah.
And
he doesn't remember.
And didn't you say it was an object of lust, and the Bidens are rejecting the child?
Right.
And they say they only have 6 grandchildren. They don't even let the 7th grandchild use the Biden name. That's got to be really,
No,
I mean, maybe she's too young. I don't know how young the child is, but
she's 4.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, it's got to be really traumatic to get rejected from a big, powerful family like that.
Well, not any family.
No, any family. It doesn't even have to be the president of the United States. To get rejected from a family like that, it's got to be soul crushing because it just
publicly known by everyone.
Because the problem is the Bidens don't want a big scandal. You know what I mean? They don't want.
They don't want it to affect the election.
Yeah, right. But to reject a child like that is
permanent harm.
Permanent harm.
Says he's a good father to his son.
Mm-hmm.
How do you not be a grandfather to a granddaughter?
Right.
I mean, that's just shameful.
Right.
Shameful.
I mean, yeah. Do you have anything else? I mean,
just that this little girl is never going to be right because of this.
Right.
And that's on him. Both of them.
Right. And it's a very valid point. I mean, to get rejected by your father like that, and maybe the mother might be bitter towards the Bidens and take her frustrations and anger out on the child and view her as an extension of the Bidens.
Well, I mean, I don't know the mother and I can't judge the mother.
Right.
However, I can judge the father and the grandfather for neglect because they obviously verbally said out loud they disown her.
Right.
Where the mother, was she an opportunist and saw money in the bank? Maybe, but we don't know her. We can't judge her.
I mean, let's put it. Let's put it this way. I mean, who wouldn't want to have a child that's a Biden because he's the president of the United States and has plenty of money? But with that said, I mean, if somebody does successfully get a child that's a Biden, they should be using the Biden last name. They shouldn't be rejected by the family. It's almost. I mean, there was a fascist dictator, Benito Albino. Benito Mussolini had a son, Benito Albino Mussolini, and he just didn't want the son. And he basically was saying that the woman was crazy. The son's name was Benito Albino Mussolini. They were saying the son was crazy, and they wound up giving him psychiatric medications to the point where he just died. Basically, it's a true story. I mean, fascism is bad, but yeah.
Well, look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? He had sex with the maid and his wife at the same time.
Right.
Had 2 children, but they ended up divorcing the Kennedy.
Right.
And the really interesting thing, he relates really well with the illegitimate child.
Right.
So I have to give him credit.
Right.
He did not disown the illegitimate child. He did not.
So that's a very nice thing of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah. But,
I mean, it shouldn't have been back in the day.
Let's not use vulgar language. But when it comes to Benito Albino Mussolini, I mean, imagine like your father is a dictator, and he's telling you you're crazy. I mean, fascism is bad because you're a dictator. You can do whatever you want, and if you don't want a child, you can legitimately kill the child, which is what he basically did. So sometimes I wonder if some of these rulers had dictator power like a fascist country, if they would just simply kill their illegitimate children.
Sure, they would.
Yeah, of course.
And take this little girl, okay?
I'm not saying the Bidens would do that. I'm just saying.
No, I know. But take this little girl. Now I'm going on the mother's side, okay? Yeah. She grows up, number one, feeling rejected from the father's side.
Right.
And the most popular people rejected it from that side. Then she sits and thinks, did my mother plan this? Mm-hmm. So she can get money. So the poor kid is going to be so screwed up.
The kid's going to be screwed up and they're rejected by the Bidens. Yeah.
Well, both sides.
Yeah.
Because they can sit there and say, well, did my mother just use me as a pawn?
Yeah, used as a pawn by the mother. And that is what it is. Which is why, plan to have children and do it in,
the right way.
Legitimate ways.